Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can't hear. Hello. Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you again for joining us today. I am Swati Sinha, and I'd like to welcome each one of you for this special program, that we do on Ambassador Series. This series is a unique platform for interaction with the heads of foreign missions in India and Indian missions abroad. The title for today's conversation is India Bangladesh Relations Launching Newer Heights with the Growing Connectivity. We are honored to have High Commissioner of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammad Mustafizur Rahman, who is the High Commissioner of Bangladesh to India, to address this special conversation. A very warm welcome to you, High Commissioner. It is also my pleasure to welcome Mr. Dipanjan Roy Chaudhary, Diplomatic Editor, The Economics Times, who will be chairing this very important conversation. With this, over to you, Dipanjan. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dipanjan. I write on foreign affairs for Economic Times. It's a privilege to share this session, particularly when Aspen has been run by Indranidhi, whom I know for many years. And actually, the first time that I met her was in Hotel Oberoi in, I think, 2006, when we had gone to interview the then foreign minister of Bangladesh under the BNP government, and who had said that we can give helicopters to India to find out the insurgents in Bangladesh. Anyway, that's a history, and probably, the party has been out of power for many years now. Um, Before we begin, Bangladesh is, as we all know, and it doesn't need introduction anymore. It is no longer a basket case as once it was described. I think even basket case is probably not the right term to use, as you had once mentioned. I distinctly remember. It's a country with a lot of hope, a lot of promise. It's the second fastest growing economy in South Asia, and despite the turbulence of the COVID and supply chains and the war, the Bangladesh economy has stood its ground. Sheikh Hasina, it's 4.0, and there are huge expectations from India as well as, I guess, from people of Bangladesh as well as countries in the Indo-Pacific region. I mean, how Bangladesh could become an anchor in the Bay of Bengal, feeding into the Indo-Pacific region. Various countries in Southeast Asia as well as East Asia, particularly Japan, has been working closely with Bangladesh. A lot of investments. Bangladesh is also being plus one in terms of investment when investment started coming out from East Asia since COVID. Uh, I would like to invite Ambassador Rahman now, High Commissioner Rahman, to talk about the success story, particularly in the continuity which provided stability in the last 15 years, and where can Bangladesh go from here, at least in Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's fourth term, and the expectations, how to manage the expectations in relations with India. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhary, for um, introducing myself and as well as my country. I will cover definitely what you said about the progress in Bangladesh. I would also cover in the same breath the relationship that is evolving between our two friendly neighbors. But I would start in a formal way, that is, Mr. Moderator, esteemed guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to you all. I'm truly honored to be here amidst such a distinguished gathering. And I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ananda Center for inviting me to speak a few words on Bangladesh as well as on Bangladesh-India relations. As you know, just over 3 months ago, our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina embarked on another term as the head of government of Bangladesh. Since our re-election, our Prime Minister has reaffirmed her unwavering commitment to realizing the vision of a smart Bangladesh by 2041. This ambitious vision, a testament to her leadership, aims to transform Bangladesh into a golden Bengal. In Bangla, we call Sonar Bangla, a dream cherished by our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. One of the key election promises made by the ruling party was to maintain strong relations with the neighboring countries in various areas such as cross-border communication, transshipment, energy partnerships, and equitable water sharing. Currently, general elections are taking place in India to elect the members of the Lok Sabha. The citizens of India also have aspirations to see their country further develop while ensuring inclusiveness and sustainable economic growth. So evidently, two nations, we have similar aspirations and we strive to achieve common development goals. The destinies of our two countries, of our two peoples, are intertwined, not only due to our geographical proximity, shared history, culture, heritage, and value system, but also because of the indelible bond that was forged when we stood together, shedding blood together in 1971 for the independence of Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, in recent years, the leaders of Bangladesh and India have emphasized the significance of building a stronger South Asia. The government of Bangladesh is currently focusing on economic diplomacy with the ambitious goal of establishing Dhaka as the center of transit trade in Asia, a beacon of economic growth and development, as you all know. Taking advantage of its location, Bangladesh aims to serve as a gateway to landlocked Nepal, Bhutan, and Northeast India. Efforts are underway to establish Bangladesh as a hub of connectivity encompassing roads, railways, waterways, air linkage, power transmission, natural gas transportation, and telecommunications. We all know connectivity plays a key role in enhancing economic development and accelerating growth. It is no surprise that connectivity has been one of the most striking features of recent Bangladesh-India ties. The reopening of old rail links, along with regular train services between Kolkata and Dhaka, and bus connectivity from Dhaka to Shillong, Agartala, Kolkata, has significantly improved physical connectivity between these two countries. The recently inaugurated Agartala-Akhawara rail link marks the first ever rail connection between the Northeast and Bangladesh. Additionally, Bangladesh has allowed India to utilize the Chattogram and Mongla port for the transportation of goods. This will surely contribute to accelerating the socio-economic growth of India's northeastern region. We all know that regional integration is essential for collective and inclusive development. Unfortunately, South Asia is one of the least integrated regions in the world. However, a synergistic approach to fostering regional integration is possible. Connectivity stands out as a vital element for regional cooperation, and I believe the Bangladesh-India relationship is a valuable contributor to regional connectivity and regional integration. India's neighborhood first policy is also committed to creating mutually beneficial relationship with all the neighbors in the region. However, it is important to explore more sub-regional and regional connectivity initiatives to promote regional integration. Bangladesh could be a significant partner for the India-Myanmar-Thailand highway project to further enhance connectivity in the region. India is funding infrastructure projects in Bangladesh through a line of credit arrangements as part of the collaboration on infrastructure and connectivity projects. These projects can eventually improve regional connectivity and integration. Apart from bilateral cooperation, both Bangladesh and India can promote regional integration by strengthening existing mechanisms such as BBIN, BIMSTEC, and the Master Plan for Connectivity, Transport Connectivity, and SAPTA. We know that SAPTA is not in fully operational perhaps, but it has the potential actually. Dear audience, as you may know, Bangladesh shares three sides of its land border with India, while India's northeastern states have a common border with Bangladesh. Together, the two countries share a border that spans over 4,096 kilometers, making it the fifth longest border in the world. Bangladesh and India are working together to manage their border effectively in order to maintain a peaceful, stable, and crime-free environment. Thanks to the proactive initiatives taken by our government, the northeastern region of India is currently enjoying the benefits of continued development, peace, and stability. In fact, the Northeast and Bangladesh share a symbiotic relationship. A strong, economically resurgent, peaceful, and stable Bangladesh is critically important to the states of Northeast, while a peaceful, economically vibrant Northeast is essential for Bangladesh's well-being. So it is quite synergistic and symbiotic. Bangladesh and India share 54 rivers, which have greatly influenced the history, politics, culture, and economy of both countries. It's not just by land that we depend on each other, but also by water. To address the issues that arise from these waters and rivers, we firmly believe that sustainable, collaborative, and meaningful cooperation is key. As a low riparian country, Bangladesh believes that equitable share of water of transboundary rivers and effective management of the rivers within the basin is crucial for our survival. Additionally, it is important for us to collaborate in conserving the Sundarban ecosystem, as it is a significant source of biodiversity in that part of the region. Trade is another area of interdependency between our two countries. Bangladesh is India's largest trading partner in South Asia, while India is Bangladesh's second biggest global trading partner. The two countries are currently working on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, CEPA. We hope that the ongoing discussions on CEPA will address all trade-related issues and make trade mutually beneficial. At the same time, new land ports and better infrastructure could be built to facilitate bilateral trade and development. It is worth mentioning that Bangladesh's economic growth is contributing to the economy of neighboring countries. For example, Bangladesh is the largest source of tourism for India, and Indian hospitals treat the highest number of Bangladeshi patients. A number of Indians are working in various sectors in Bangladesh, contributing to the service sector. On the other hand, India is a significant sourcing country for importing essential commodities and food grains into Bangladesh. In recent times, Bangladesh has increasingly relied on India as a sourcing country. In turn, Indian traders, manufacturers, and producers of agricultural items are easily doing business with Bangladesh and reaping benefits. This situation demonstrates a mutually dependency and win-win scenario for both countries. Investment is another area that requires more attention. Indian companies could establish their industries in Bangladesh, and the produced goods could be re-exported to India. We are also seeking significant investment from Indian investors into dedicated special economic zones in Bangladesh, namely Mongla and Mirat to expand our export potential. I'm happy to note that last week, both sides held a joint working group meeting in Delhi to take stock of progress in the current investment and find ways to remove possible barriers to it. Considerable progress has also been made in energy sector cooperation between Bangladesh and India in the recent past. This enhanced energy cooperation could help open new horizon for regional cooperation. On the multilateral front, Bangladesh and India share similar positions on various issues such as climate change, core development issues, trade facilitation, advanced technology, and technology transfer. Most importantly, the two countries work together to protect the interest of the global south. The mutuality and interdependency between our two countries have resulted in numerous success stories in our bilateral relations. A prime example is the Bangladesh-India land boundary agreement, which came into force in June 2015 under the leadership of our respective prime ministers. The exchange of instruments of ratification paved the way for the resolution of long-pending enclave and boundary issues between our two neighbors through mutual goodwill, a spirit of friendship, and good neighborliness. The delimitation of maritime boundaries through arbitration is yet another example of good neighborliness between our two countries, which is not very common in the world at this stage. These agreements reinforce the belief that with right attitude, even the most challenging problems can be addressed and resolved. If I may sum up, the relationship between Bangladesh and India has greatly improved in the recent times. I would say it is at its best now. Both our governments continue to work in partnership to attain our shared vision of collective prosperity as we also address issues of common concern. Our researchers, academicians, and think tanks should collaborate to suggest effective solutions for fostering partnerships and leveraging the existing goodwill between our countries for mutual benefit. I can confidently say that the future looks bright for us. On our part, we will do our best to take the relationship forward and contribute to the promising future of this region. With these few words, I would stop here. I'll be happy to respond to questions if there is any about Bangladesh-India relationship and specifically on Bangladesh as well. I thank you all. Joy Bangla.
Thank you, High Commissioner, for a very comprehensive overview of the achievements under the current government and the trajectory of the bilateral relations. We will first begin with a conversation between us and then for 10 minutes and then throughout the, uh, I think you just finished on at 5:25 as was sort of scheduled, which is very rare in July.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is Sheikh Hasina 4.0, and there are speculations that she might be the first high-profile foreign leader after the elections to India. I mean, middle of the year, after the parliament session, after your parliament session. So, if I mean the visit fructifies, I mean, what would be the new elements that one can expect in the relationship?
You have rightly said this is the fifth term for a prime minister in office. In her fifth term in office, she has unveiled a visionary roadmap. Her previous terms have been marked by significant achievements such as elevating Bangladesh to a middle-income country. It was in 2015. Then she envisioned a digital Bangladesh by 2021. We made a considerable progress over there. And then guiding Bangladesh's graduation from LDC to a developing country, which is due in 2026. So with these successes in mind, I think her government has set a roadmap for the future with a focus on number of issues like poverty alleviation, job creation, post-pandemic economic recovery, and ensuring service-oriented and accountable administration. So in terms of new areas of cooperation, I think, of course, for all these, we need international support and particularly support from the region, and India comes up very much prominently in there. As you know, as I also mentioned, the partnership between Bangladesh and India is strong and deeply rooted. It has fortified over the years. So I think, I believe there is a significant potential for collaboration between our two countries in emerging issues like we call it 4IR, fourth industrial revolution, right? Then nanotechnology, AI-related issues, semiconductor manufacturing, nuclear security, and cyber security. In all these areas, India is much ahead of us. So we can learn from India, we can benefit from India, and it will be a win-win for both our countries. I think given the current global context, working together in these areas we will not only strengthen our relationship, but also bring in benefit for us. We are looking forward to her next visit to Delhi, as you said. You notice that this is going to be her third visit in the last 3 years. So it shows the importance that our government, our prime minister attaches to the relationship with India. I'm sure there will be many important achievements in the forthcoming visits of our prime minister to India. Thank you.
So any visit of of Bangladesh Prime Minister to India has huge expectations, particularly on the Bangladesh side and the public. I mean, in the last 2 years since the COVID, there have been, I mean, huge expectations of visas from the people of Bangladesh to come here, and there have been, I understand, there are obstacles which are being, I mean, faced by. That's what I hear from our people in Bangladesh. So that's one. I mean, which is casting a shadow on the people to an extent. I wouldn't say it's a big obstacle. The other big issue which is pending between the two countries is the Tista water sharing agreement. While I mean, the experts say that water hardly may flow from Tista. I mean, in terms of an other there are cooperation on other 54 common rivers. I mean, it's a big symbolic gesture if India agrees to sign this pact. How can these expectations be managed? I mean, because this is a third visit in third year. I mean, there'll be huge expectations, particularly in this. So this is in terms of optics. How can this be managed for the Tista water sharing agreement?
Thank you. Here I see two questions. One is about visa.
Yeah.
As you would know that India has its largest operation in Dhaka, but still that is not enough. People, Bangladeshi people, they want to visit India for various reasons, for tourism, for medical purposes, for education. So I think uh, this is an issue, this remains an issue, and as you mentioned, it's an optics issue. I think the efforts are there to improve the situation, and I hope that soon we will be able to significantly improve that situation. Of course, it is up to the Indian government, so we are constantly in touch with the Indian government, Minister of External Affairs, to improve the situation, and they are also trying their best to improve. But as you understand, it's a country of 170 million. They have issued large number of visas last year and in the previous years. So they're coping up, and I think through strengthening of human resources over there, and through other facilitation process, through issuing longer term visas, I think this problem can be minimized. In terms of TISTA, as you know, that this is also another issue of optics. As you know, the status is from our side, it is that there was a negotiated document which was just awaiting for signature. It didn't happen. It is lingering. But I think, I mean, to respond to your question, I would refer to the recommendation made by the Standing Committee of External Affairs on 25th July 2023. The recommendation advocated to initiate meaningful dialogues with Bangladesh to come to a consensus on sharing Tista river water. So I believe that both parties can resolve these long-pending issues by following this approach. We have resolved many difficult issues, and we hope that this issue will also be able to be resolved in due course. Thank you.
Coming to the foreign and regional relations, I mean, Bangladesh, of course, is a proud sovereign country, and every sovereign country makes its own decision in terms of their bilateral relations. Something which hasn't, I mean, it's not here really come in the public domain in a big way, but something which is probably may bother the Indian policymakers in the coming years is the nature of the China-Bangladesh relations, and I'm being very frank here. There are reports that Bangladesh might also give a submarine base to China in the Bay of Bengal, which of course will be a difficult challenge for India in the region, because the Chinese have developed strong ties with Myanmar and accessing Bay of Bengal through there. How does Bangladesh look at this, and how can Bangladesh assuage India's concerns when it comes to the regional security?
You see, with India, I mean, we have a historically rock solid relationship. We cannot compare our relationship with India with any other countries, right? While China is a development partner, we will continue to work with all countries of the world to fulfill our people's development aspirations. At the same time, we are very mindful of India's sensitivities. And I do not, we would not do anything which will affect the security concern of India. It's a relationship, as I said, very solid. And I don't think India should be worried about our relationship with China. India's relationship, Bangladesh's relationship with India is special and unique, and it will remain so. And we are mindful of the concerns of our friendly neighbor.
Um, in the region, I mean, Myanmar the instability in Myanmar is bothering every country. I mean, you have faced the influx of the Rohingyas. How much is the current instability a matter of concern in Dhaka? I mean,
It is a concern, it's a serious concern. You see, Myanmar is our neighbor.
right.
So certainly, if anything happens there will be impact on us and other neighbors. Um, Bangladesh is closely monitoring the situation in Myanmar. Unfortunately, I'll be very candid to say that the international community's lack of attention to this issue and shortage of practical initiatives and shared responsibility has prolonged this crisis. And I'm to be very frank here. Although it's an internal matter of Myanmar, Bangladesh emphasizes that the situation may pose a security challenge for us and India as well. So this is a major concern. Moreover, the ongoing instability in the has also created a significant obstacle to the prospective repatriation of the Rohingyas from Bangladesh to Myanmar. As you know, the presence of Rohingyas in Bangladesh has created many challenges, including security threats, not only for Bangladesh, but also for the whole region. It is not only the responsibility of Bangladesh, but I think it is also the responsibility of the international community to take this issue seriously and ensure that these people can go safely to their home country when the situation permits. We know that at the moment the situation may not be suitable, but there was a time we could do it, and hope that in future there will be a situation where we'll be able to repatriate these ill-fated Rohingya people to their home country. But in a nutshell, I would say that this is really a serious issue and a concerning issue for Bangladesh.
So is India and Bangladesh holding a dialogue on Myanmar in the backdrop of the recent events of the last 6 months?
Actually, we are in consultation with all the neighboring countries, and India being an important country in the region, we are in consultation with Myanmar. We sought India's support, and in the recent event, recent escalation of the conflict, we are consulting. We are in touch with each other. And you may remember that recently we have moved out of Sitwe, both India and Bangladesh consulate. So over there also we coordinated our movement.
Okay.
So we all moved to Yangon. So to respond to your question, we are in contact, we are coordinating.
One last question before I open up. I mean, before every elections in Bangladesh, I mean, there is this reports which come out in a section of the press, global press, about democracy, human rights, particularly democracy. Critics say it's becoming a one-party state, or which I would oppose that because the opposition doesn't want to participate in elections. So, what are your views? What are your thoughts on these increasing attacks on Bangladesh with every elections? It starts 1 year before the elections, and the temperature really goes up.
Thank you. Thank you. I would say that different countries may have different perspective about each other. However, in case of Bangladesh, I think democracy is thriving. some anti-democratic forces within the country and outside are attempting to disrupt the continuity of our democratic process. Nonetheless, we have maintained strong and friendly relations with all countries, including the West, who have indicated they raised this issue of democratic deficiencies. I mean, no democracy is perfect. No country can claim that democracy is perfect. So it's a process, and we're in the process of improving. Our government is committed to further strengthening the democratic process, and as we also strengthen our relationship and cooperation with all the democratic countries in the world. So that's what I can say at this stage.
I now want to open up. We have 15 minutes for the Q&A. So please go ahead and yes, Mr. Bhattacharya.
Thank you. My name is A.K. Bhattacharya. I'm from Business Standard. What I wanted to ask you was that you have beautifully outlined Bangladesh's investment needs and the role India can play. In that context, I was wondering if you could answer two questions. Number one is that we know that uh, China under BRI has invested almost around $17 billion in Bangladesh. What has been Bangladesh's experience with the BRI projects? That's number one. And number two, what more can India do to bridge any infrastructure deficit or any project investments requirement in Bangladesh? What would you recommend will be the instruments by which this can be expedited? Thank you.
Second question wasn't very clear to me. Would you mind repeating it?
No, the second question was that since Bangladesh is like a developing country, it needs more infrastructure investments. And I was wondering what more needs to be done to ensure that the flow of resources, expertise, technology from India can help in that cause.
Thank you. First, on the BRI projects, you see, there is an interesting thing over here, and I said one of our Chinese colleagues, many of the projects adopted in Bangladesh and ongoing in adopted were taken before even BRI came into being as a concept. So now we can call that these are BRI projects. It's not like that. Secondly, we are very mindful of taking money from any countries, any donors. We only take projects which will pay dividend to us, which are economically viable, and we don't take any disproportionate amount of aid from any particular country. We have been receiving aid from World Bank, from IMF, from JICA, from COICA, from other sources, and including India, a significant amount. So we have not taken any money from any country which will have a burden on us or disproportionate amount of money from particular source. So we also diversify our sources, and we adopt projects which are really necessary for our development and for our progress. And I think this will also answer to your second question partly. We are taking funding from different sources, including India. India has a line of credit through which we are developing some projects. So I can say only that if India come up with more projects with more money, that will be even better for our infrastructure project development. So we'll be less dependent on any particular country. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself and then.
Thank you for the insightful session. I'm Tanisha Gupta.
We can't hear.
Yeah. Thank you for the insightful session. I'm Tanisha Gupta, and my question revolves around the ongoing trade agreement between the two countries, how it will lead to mutual gains, and could we expect a new equilibrium after the general elections of India?
Thank you. As I mentioned in my initial presentation, we are currently working on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, SEPA, and we hope that many of the issues, challenges, and prospects would be covered within that framework agreement. So trade is, of course, an important part of that SEPA. We hope that that will solve our, that will help us make further progress. And trade is taking place between the two countries, and it is increasing. And over the last couple of years, it increased significantly. Now it is almost 18 billion US dollar. So our import from India is 16 billion roughly. And our export to India is 2 billion. So you can see, and it was a couple of years ago, it was quite low. So it's increasingly the quantum of export both ways. Trade between Bangladesh and India is increasing, and it has the potential to further increase. Thank you.
Thank you, High Commissioner, for your comprehensive presentation. My name is Seichiro Taguchi. I'm a political minister at the Embassy of Japan here in New Delhi. Taking this occasion, allow me to mention a little bit about Japan-Bangladesh relationship. Well, I'm very glad to see the current upward tendencies of our relationship symbolized by last year's Prime Minister Hashina's visit to Japan, as well as quite recent announcement of commencement of Japan-Bangladesh Economic Partnership Agreement negotiations. And also, I'm very happy to see the upward trend of number of Japanese companies in Dhaka. And my question is with regard to these Japanese companies. As a government official, I'm not in a position to represent views of Japanese companies, but we somewhat know that their expectation is more to realize more connectivities between with India, especially Indian Northeast. And I'm glad to hear that you mentioned lots about connectivity in your presentation. One question is, however, you mentioned a lot about infrastructure development, but we believe connectivity does not necessarily mean only hardwares. And so, therefore, my question is, well, as you already mentioned, in the context of India, Bangladesh, SEPA, well, for me, the SEPA or FTA is not only about custom duties. It's how to facilitate movement of goods, customs, etc., or how to deregularize the trade. So, in this connection, what would be your expectation to realize more of facilitation of movement of goods between land borders between Bangladesh and and India, especially Indian Northeast? I think this is well, not this is not in my capacity as official position, but I think this would be the the point of interest of the Japanese companies. Thank you.
Thank you. I see a number of questions within your single intervention. So I would try to cover almost all that you have mentioned. First is about Japan. Japan is our longest trusted development partner, and it started since our independence. So the goodwill that you have among the people of Bangladesh is enormous. Likewise, the Japanese companies working in Bangladesh are considered to be the most trusted companies. We value the work and involvement of Japanese companies, presence of Japanese companies. So, as I said, the goodwill is there. Second is about the, you are very right, connectivity doesn't mean only physical connectivity. There can be digital connectivity, there can be many ways of connectivity. So, but first, which are visible is the physical connectivity. And here comes the point you mentioned at last, that is our connectivity with the Northeast. I have covered significantly, I think, in my initial presentation about the connectivities which are in existence or which are in the process between Bangladesh and the Northeast. And we are so happy that Japan stepped in there to facilitate the connectivity between the Northeast and Bangladesh using the Matarbari, we call it Big B, as the hub or center of that. So I think it can be a game changer. And I think so, very strongly. And I feel very strongly that the Matarbari can really be the hub for connectivity with the Northeast. And the benefits will be accrued by both the Northeast and Bangladesh. And again, I would say that the involvement of Japan in any form of, for example, development of that particular area in Matarbari, and also maybe other infrastructure along the way, the ports, I mean land ports or maybe seaports. Second thing I can say is that, as I mentioned in my initial presentation, that Bangladesh government has decided to allow two main ports of Bangladesh, Chittagong and Mongla, for transportation of goods, Indian goods, to be transported to Northeast. So if we take all this into account, the Matarbari project, use of these two seaports, and there are other land ports along the border between Bangladesh and India. All this can contribute to further improvement of connectivity with Northeast, and thereby transportation of goods between these two parts of this region. Thank you.
Anyone else? Subhushaji, might want to add something to that? Yeah. Are we looking at India, Bangladesh, Japan trilateral, a formal trilateral? I mean, when either the Prime Minister is here or when probably during possible visit of Indian Prime Minister to Japan, because he's due for the annual summit. Maybe your Prime Minister can join or she can join virtually. I mean, a formalization of the trilateral, I think would not be that sensitive. I mean, there are many such plurilaterals and trilaterals. Are we? Are the three countries working towards that?
We'll be happy to consider that, but I think this has not yet been proposed. I know that Dr. Subhashish Dutt is doing something it's 1.5 track, I would say, because our government's representatives are also attending those seminars and workshops. If there is a concrete proposal, I think it would be good, because Japan is a country which is acceptable to both our countries. So that can be an important proposal, but we will wait for that proposal to come, and we'll definitely consider it positively.
Sudhi?
Thank you.
Sir, Shudhi Ranjan from Bloomberg, sir. Two clarifications. In the Tista Water Development Project, we understand both India and China wants to do the same project. If you could give us an understanding, what is the situation and what is the way forward? And also on Myanmar, sir, what we get to understand is that the junta is in a very difficult situation. What is Bangladesh's assessment? Is the junta going to survive? And post-junta, therefore, what happens in Myanmar?
Both the questions are very tricky. The first question, I would say that I'm aware of the Chinese proposal. I don't know about officially about the Indian proposal. So once it is placed and proposed, then I'm sure the concerned authorities will look into it and see the viability and other aspects of that. Second question about the situation in Myanmar, as I have already explained, it's a very precarious situation over there. And at the moment, we can only wait and see for the situation to be normalized, and then perhaps think something differently. And other than that, it would be difficult to say for me anything on the situation in the ground. Thank you.
Anyone? Ambassador Bhattacharya? You have served in Bangladesh, so you want to share some. He was Deputy High Commissioner, and
you don't need to introduce me. He's a good friend of mine, and we served together in Switzerland.
So with that, I think we will come to a wonderful session. So a couple of, observations, or from your, that India need not worry. Bangladesh is sensitive to Indian security interests. India is a preferred partner for Bangladesh's high-tech sector, as in terms of semiconductor, AI, and the third, that there's a very positive momentum in partnership, and the people-to-people ties are stronger. And with Japan in the room, I mean, the Bay of Bengal connectivity has a bright future connecting to the Indo-Pacific region. Thank you all for joining, and I think it was a very, very bright and very positive session with High Commissioner Rahman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. And I must say that the summing up in 2-3 sentences, I think it couldn't have been any better. Thank you, Dipanjan, for that. Thank you.